Tamsin and Corey, the MTA says congestion pricing would bring a long list of benefits to Midtown, like increased funding for public transit, less traffic, and even better air quality. But today we heard from those leaders who represent communities outside of Manhattan. They say they fail to see the benefits for their neighborhoods.
The victim was not hurt, but the thieves got away with $10,000 in cash. Police have a clear picture of who they are looking for, but if you have any information on this, call Crime Stoppers.
Guys, take a look at this. $24 million worth of drugs taken off the streets from a stash house in the Bronx.
And where we are right now is a real study in contrast. You see behind me here, there's a hole in the wall of a very white room. That's because this has been cleaned up, but this is what was cleared out from this home. And at dozens of homes throughout this neighborhood, the scene looks like this or worse. The water you see flowing through the Dye family's home is the result of flooding, but this is actually the scene after they'd cleaned up most of the mess. This is it beforehand. Mud everywhere. Their basement kitchen, the hallway, the bathroom.
This is like insane. Yeah, because this is now flooding zone. It should be like safe. Shouldn't have any water or anything, but now look at the car. And the car is moved by the water.
This is what 160th Street near 24th Road in Whitestone, Queens looked like at 5 in the morning. Most of the homes here have finished basements that got hit hard, just like they did a year ago when rains from Hurricane Ida dumped a month's worth of rain in an hour's time.
They desperately need help. We're not only asked for help for this year, but we're hoping somebody can fix it. According to the neighborhood, maybe the sewer problem, there's some problem, but it has to be fixed so they don't have the same problem next year.
The city's sewer system can handle 1.75 inches of rain per hour. This part of the system could not.
And there's no easy fix, but general maintenance twice a year is certainly something we need to examine and look into.
To prevent more scenes like this, the city is building a network of 11,000 rain gardens that it says will soak up 2,500 gallons of water each. But for people here today, whose van, garage, and basement are a total loss, they say they need more help now.
Last year I had 7 feet of water in my house. Now I have almost 5 feet of water in my house. And then to have all my belongings out in the street like this, it's adding insult to injury.
The mayor needs to take notice.
The wheels are in motion on the west side, 4 wheels and 2. People are walking and riding. Here's an idea that stops them in their tracks. What do you think about a new bike lane along the road?
I think that would help. It would help a lot.
He's on a bike and wants everybody to watch out along the current Hudson River Greenway path.
It could be a little bit too crowded, a lot of people, hard to get through. And then what's annoying is people like crossing here, like that's not riding bikes. They'll walk on the bike lane.
Here's a picture of what it might look like, converting a current lane for vehicles into a protected 2-way bike lane. This driver has a different perspective.
No, don't do it. More congestion, more traffic. Don't do it. Be smart. Be smart, New York.
Manhattan Borough President Mark Levine thinks it's a great idea.
It will be safer, there'll be fewer collisions, and this would on net be a huge win for the city.
Levine is asking the State Department of Transportation to create a new protected bike lane along a 4-mile stretch of Route 9A, also known as the West Side Highway. It's technically a state road. He says the state DOT can do an official feasibility study, but they don't have to wait.
It can be done with the paintbrush and by putting in Jersey barriers.
Currently, electric bikes are not allowed on the Greenway. They would be allowed in the proposed new bike lane along the road. The borough president believes traffic will adjust.
People are driving more, but if we rededicate space and create new options that make it easier to ride on a bicycle, it's going to change commuting patterns.
One across is not enough. There is one there, right? I live and work here, so the traffic is tough here.
These pedestrians are visiting from Ireland.
We live kind of in the suburbs, and you can literally get to the city centre on a bike the whole way through.
So you think that'd be...
Oh, definitely, yeah. And it'd reduce people using cars, which is good for the environment.
This idea has been talked about before, studied. It did not move ahead. Since this is a state road, the State Department of Transportation would have to make the call. A spokesperson for that state agency says they have received the letter from the borough president and are reviewing it. In Tribeca, Greg Mocker, Pix 11 News.
Remember that when prices continued to climb up straight through the beginning of June, and there was some concern that we'd have a spike again during the 4th of July holiday weekend driving season, but that didn't materialize.
We're here at UA3 headquarters on the Lower East Side on Grand Street, where there's a steady stream of distributions and deliveries all afternoon. We're talking about free hot meals, milk, eggs, and fresh produce. Now there's a new app that shows you where food like this is available in your neighborhood. You can even schedule an appointment.
The mayor says any of the migrants who choose to stay here in the city will be provided with shelter, but he says city shelters are overwhelmed. The mayor is now calling on the federal government to step in and help with resources.